Hello everyone. In this video, we will be solving UGC NET December 2013 question paper. If you want to check out our courses, then you can go to our website, which is www.digmentor.com. Over there, you can go to the courses section. In courses section, you can check out our comprehensive courses for GATE, UGC NET and placement preparation. Currently, we are offering huge discounts on UGC NET Computer Science video lecture subscription and test series. So if you want to enroll to our video lectures and subscription and test series, you can always visit our website and please call on the numbers below. Please don't forget to like and share the videos with your friend.
Question number 9 is, which one of the following is not a step of requirement engineering? So these are some steps are given. So requirement elicitation, analysis, requirement design and requirement documentation. So let's discuss about requirement engineering first, then we'll discuss the requirement engineering steps one by one. So basically requirement engineering goal is to find out what user really need, what is the need of the customer. Okay, so according to that, first all the developer team listen what are the customer demands, then they produce one large document written in natural language, they prepare one SRS and it contains the description. This SRS, when if this is a customer, so after the discussion from the customer, they prepare one document. This is a SRS document which is written in the written language and it contains the description. So I'm writing here, it contains the description what the system will do without describing how to do it. Basically this SRS is used for the customer so that they will get to know what the system will do without, because mentioning how to do it, it's very redundant information for for the customers also. So now in the requirement engineering, this type of work is to be done. So the first step is requirement engineering step. First step is requirement elicitation, means to gather the requirements. So basically requirement elicitation is the first step and it is an activity that helps us to understand what problem has to be solved and what customer expect from the software, right? So with the help of requirement elicitation, we get to know two things, कि हमें क्या problem को solve करना है, and second thing is कि customer की क्या expectation है software से. Okay, so for requirement elicitation we use different methods like interviews, brainstorming sessions. Like in interviews, our purpose is to understand each other, right? So they arrange meeting with the customers, and in the requirement in this requirement elicitation, the requirement engineers used as a mediators between the customer and the development team, right? So they ask some questions to the customers, right? According to that, they prepare their notes and then then prepare the documentation, right? So the next step is requirement analysis. This is the second step after requirement elicitation. So at this step we gather all the informations which is required to develop the software. The next step is requirement analysis. Now requirement analysis is the second most important you can say essential activity. In this in this step we refine the gathered information in order to make consistent and unambiguous requirements, right? So in the step 1 there is a collection of information is there. So in the requirement analysis we refined and we delete all the unambiguous requirements which is present in the requirement elicitation step. So this is the requirement analysis step. Now the next step is requirement documentation. Okay, So in the requirement documentation, we prepare one SRS document, right? And in the SRS document, everything is present about what the system will do without describing how to do it. So there are some characteristics of SRS document, that it should be consistent, right? Every requirement should be specified using some standard terminology. This document should be correct. User expectations that are exactly which is you can say जो आपकी users की requirement is should be present exactly in the SRS. It should be unambiguous, or you can say it should be complete, traceable होना चाहिए, modifiable होना चाहिए, you can easily modify, or if you want to make any changes in the SRS, you can easily do it. So these are some characteristics of SRS, right? So after preparing the SRS, then the last step is requirement verification. Last step is requirement verification. This is the last step. So now check. Requirement elicitation is the step of requirement engineering. Yes, when we gather the information from the customers. Now the second step is requirement analysis, when we refine the already gathered requirement in order to make it consistent and unambiguous. Yes, this is a step. Now third is the requirement design. Now no such step is there, so this is wrong. And the requirement documentation, yes, this is a step where we prepare the SRS document. So this is true, this is false. So option C is the one which is the incorrect. Now question number 10 is, testing of a software with actual data and in actual environment is called alpha testing, beta testing, regression testing, and D is none of the above. Now let's talk about first acceptance testing, because alpha testing and beta testing are the part of the acceptance testing. Let's discuss what is acceptance testing. So basically this kind of testing is conducted when software is developed for a specific number of customer. मतलब for a limited number of audience के लिए जब कोई software को हम develop करते हैं, तो in that kind of situation we use this acceptance testing. But when we have you can say large number of people, so this acceptance testing is basically of two types. The first one is alpha and the second one is beta. So first one is alpha testing and the second one is beta testing. So these two testing, alpha and beta, these two testing conducted for anonymous customer, means for large number of peoples, and this type of testing conducted for specific customer. Okay, now let's talk about alpha testing and beta testing separately. So alpha testing is both the testing is done by the customers, but the place where they test that particular software, it's different. So the alpha testing is done by the customer. Alpha testing is done by the customer at developer site only, right? And in the beta testing done by the customer, both of the testing is done by the customer, but this testing is done at the users, or you can say customer site. So this is the main difference between these two testing. And in this alpha testing, you can say developer is present, but in this testing is done by the customer at the user side. That's why developer is not present, so it's absent. Okay, so basically alpha testing carried out before the release of software, and it is done by the after getting the failure are reported. So after the delivery, this kind of testing is done, right? So now this is a white box testing, this is a black box testing, type of a black box testing, and this is a white box testing. Why? because when customer is present at the developer side, so it's able to go through the internal structure. Developer able to go to the internal structure and with the help of input and check the output with the desired output, so it's able to test the whole software. But at the beta site, only customer is there, so it only is only able to test with the help of input and output, right? He is not considering the internal structure of the code. So that's why it's a type of black box testing, and this is the white box testing. And there is one more testing, is there regression test. So regression testing, you can say, is it's something like a maintenance testing, because regression testing हम जब करते हैं, जब अगर हमने कोई ऑर्डर अपने सिस्टम के अंदर कोई चेंज किया है, तो वी टेस्टेड वेदर इट वर्किंग वेल नाउ और नॉट, कि चेंज करने के बाद भी हमारा सिस्टम अच्छे से वर्क कर रहा है या नहीं. सो इट्स अ काइंड ऑफ मेंटेनेंस टेस्टिंग. नाउ कम बैक टू आवर क्वेश्चन. Testing of software with actual data and in actual environment is called. Actual environment and actual data वो होता है जब हम कस्टमर की साइट पे करते हैं. लेट्स सपोज हमने कोई एप्लीकेशन हमने लॉन्च की है, तो वो जब हम कस्टमर को डिलीवर करवाएंगे, तो वहाँ पर जो टेस्ट जो कस्टमर्स हैं उसे यूज़ करेंगे, तो वो उसका एक्चुअल इन्वायरमेंट होगा, एक्चुअल डेटा होगा. तो दिस इज नॉट अ एक्चुअल यू कैन से इन्वायरमेंट वेयर डेवलपर आर प्रेजेंट. दिस इज एक्चुअल इन्वायरमेंट जहाँ कस्टमर्स हैं उसे यूज़ कर रहे हैं और फिर वो फीडबैक दे रहे हैं कि वो सही है या नहीं है. सो दिस इज एक्चुअल इन्वायरमेंट. सो that's why the correct answer is beta testing, not alpha testing, right? Now question number 11 is, the student marks should not be greater than 100. This is integrity constant, referential constant, overdefined constant, and feasible constant. So these two constants are not useful in DBMS, they are used in software engineering. So obviously these two options are not there. Now the left one is integrity constant and the referential constant. Referential constant is useful when there is two table and the column, this is the reference column and it's referred to this, right, this table. So in this type of situation, there is some triggering actions we are taking care of in the referential constants. The first one is on delete and there is on update. So when we delete something, okay, so we have to take care of this reference table, and when we delete or we update in this table, we have to take care of this table also. So with the help of set null, set default, and set cascade. Okay, so same in the update also, null, default, and cascade. It means that when we delete something here, so if the same data is also present here, so we put null there. And if we delete something from here, we delete some default value or we add something new value there. So referential constant is useful when there is a foreign key and some table refers to other table. So this is useful in this situation. And the next one is integrity constant. So integrity ensures that if this is a database, right? If this is a database, so it ensures that changes made to the database by authorized users, कि जो भी आप इसमें जो चेंजेस आप करोगे वो ऑथराइज यूजर होना चाहिए, एंड देयर शुड नॉट बी एनी लॉस ऑफ डेटा और एनी काइंड ऑफ इनकंसिस्टेंसी. सो इंटीग्रिटी कॉन्स्टेंट टेक केयर ऑफ दिस. नाउ द स्टूडेंट मार्क्स शुड नॉट बी ग्रेटर देन 100. सो ऑल काइंड ऑफ डेटा related problems, it's handled by the integrity constant. So option A is the right one. Now go bottom and skip 3 commands are given one after another in a database file of 30 records. 30 records are there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 30, like 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 and 30. So it shifts the control to what? Now go bottom. So the shift is here and it go to the bottom. So I'm at here, right? Go bottom after applying this command, and the next command is skip 3. So we have to skip 3. So first, second and third. So after skipping 3 records, my control is here. So now you have to tell where is my control now. So at the 27th record, my control is present. Okay. So question number 13 is, NER model includes what? So first is NER diagram portraying entity types. So any entities like employee, department, all entity is portraying by ER diagrams. Attribute of each entity types like employee ID, employee name is also represented by ER models. Represent relationship among entity types, relationships like works for is also included by ER diagrams, and all kind of integrity constraints. We have already discussed about that reflects the business rules about data not captured in the ER diagrams. So this is also true. So option number A is the right one. Now question number 14 is, based on the cardinality ratio and participation associated with the relationship type, choose either the foreign key design, the cross-referencing design, or mutual referencing design. So correct is participation constraints. Participation constraints is there, right? क्या रहेगा?